wish them a happy birthday. They're probably maybe 21 years old. I don't know, could be 22 years old. So, anyhow, we have an exciting evening this evening, very special. And Nancy Rittenament will come up here and introduce our speaker.
Okay, I've been waiting for this night for so long. Oh, maybe 3, 4 months. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about the walk on the Camino. That's for her to talk about, but I'm going to introduce Terry. And just to give you the context of why we're both here tonight in the same place, she has been an amazing person in my life for over 40 years. It's hard to believe. We met, I think, about 82. So I'm just going to give you a very short little, just some ideas. She's truly a California girl. I don't qualify for that, but she does. And she's the oldest of 9 siblings. She met the love of her life, Mike, in the back. He's waving on Balboa Island. And they have been married for over 50 years. 49, 49. And they have 4 boys. So that's when the story starts for us. Okay, so we met on Santa Barbara Street, where the Covenant Church is in Pasadena in 82. We were neighbors. We were young mothers with young children trying to survive. I didn't put that in my notes. Okay, side by side, next door neighbors. Pretty soon there were Bible studies at 5 o'clock in the morning. And then she would kidnap me and take me for donuts. Go ahead. and there were chickens flying over our fence, laying eggs. oh, it was oh, it was so fun. We Terry, we endured hail and earthquakes. Yep. And we John baptized you in our jacuzzi. Okay. So at the end of the 80s, we each moved and went our own way. That was sad. But we have continued to be friends until today. It's still going on. She's having Bible studies in Orange County, and I'm in them here. And we talk once a week, usually. And we share our lives with each other. Now it's about grandkids. And tonight it's my privilege and honor to introduce my true friend, entrepreneur, and seasoned pilgrim, Terry Zinn.
Hey. Am I on, Sean? Am I on? Can you hear me? Okay. Hi. Hi. I've met some of you. I haven't met all of you. I'm sorry. And I don't want to mess up any names, so I probably won't call you out Ward or, Weechun or Bertha. I won't call you out. Thank you for coming. I might get emotional. I first want to thank Nancy. She said, "Oh, Terry, you've got to tell your story." And I thought, oh my gosh, it's not really a story. Oh, that's a story. So thank you for coming to hear my story. I want to thank my husband, Mike. Had to hear this story 100 times. Terry, you might want to not do so many ums, maybe add that, Anyway, honey, I love you. Thank you so much. So I had to get those thanks out of the way. Most of you saw the movie last week. I don't think all of you did get to see it. So I am just going to give you a brief little history of the movie and what I saw of it. The movie starred Martin Sheen and Emilio Estevez. Martin Sheen, you might know him from West Wing. Emilio Estevez is his son in real life, and he produced no, I'm sorry, directed and wrote that that movie. So that was kind of an interesting thing. So he put this movie together. I just got to get the tears out of the eyes. And the movie was, to put it in a short version, Emilio Estevez was the estranged son. His dad was an ophthalmologist. Thank you. Speaking isn't one of my strong suits. Ophthalmologist. And Martin Sheen wanted him to follow in his footsteps, finish college. And what does Emilio Estevez want to do? He wants to backpack. He wants to go. And the one scene, and I don't know if you remember this in the movie, when Martin Sheen was taking him in the car and he was kind of telling him, you should, finish college and you should. And Emilio Estevez says, Dad, you don't choose a life, you live one. I said, oh my gosh, that's a great thing. We all choose something, right? We're homemakers, we're doctors, Indians, lawyers. But are you living life? I don't know. That just kind of resonated with me. So the story takes place. Martin Sheen's on the golf course. He gets the message. His son has died in the Camino. And I'm just going to, yes, there it is there. But just for a point of reference, and I'm going to be back and forth. It starts in France. Pied-à-Port is where you start your trek in France. And it carries you all 500 miles to the end of Spain at the Santiago de Compostela. And that's where the church, the cathedral is. Anyway, the story goes, Emilio dies. Martin Sheen has to come and get his ashes. And he says, you know what? I'm going to do the Camino for my son. I am going to do what he wanted to do, what he set out to do. So it changed kind of a hard man into a soft, loving man, as the movie kind of portrayed at the end. Okay, it is a religious pilgrimage. There's lots of places to go, but it resonated with me because it was very much with my Catholic faith. Some of you who are Catholic, there was churches everywhere. There was Martin Sheen putting the ashes on the mile marker. There was the priest who gave him the rosary. And then there was the swinging of the Buddha Famero. I don't know if you saw that in the movie, this big, huge incense vessel that we are going to talk about later. Okay. So anyway, when you saw the movie, did you say to yourself, I got to go. I got to do that. I got to go. Well, that's what I did. I said, I got to go. Mike goes, yeah, it's okay, honey. No, really, Mike, I have to go. Yeah, okay, we'll talk about it. Well, this was when I was 58 years old, and I thought, when I'm 60, I am going to walk part of that Camino. Like I said, 500 miles. And that was a 6-week journey. I did not have 6 weeks to give of my life. Teachers can do that during the summer, and that's great, but I couldn't do that. So I just kept going, why do I want to go? I was a 58-year-old woman in South Orange County with my husband, 4 sons. I had 5 grandchildren at the time. And I'm thinking, I have to go. But who's going to go with me? Wait a second. Okay. Excuse me. Now, people would say, well, why don't you just do the John Muir Trail? Why don't you just do the Pacific Crest Trail? Why do you have to go to Spain to go take a walk? I don't know. There's this Catholic thing going on with me. So I thought, well, okay, I'm going to pray about it because that's what I do. Pray about it. God, if you want me to go, put somebody in my place to go with me. So I have a dear, dear friend, right up with Nancy, but I've been in grade school with her. We've been friends for 44 years. And her name was Debbie. And she was world traveler. I barely had a passport. I'd never been outside of the United States. She's been to South America, Iceland, Africa for safaris. It's like, okay, Debbie. And so she wanted to go. The movie touched her. And we were both of the Catholic faith. And we thought, this is an adventure. Now, her and I are a group of friends. And we usually go to Vegas, Catalina, a couple weekends here and there. We've never traveled together. That's a whole nother ballgame, but we'll go there later. Okay, so anyway, we decided we're going to do it when we turned 60 in 2014. And so we had 2 years to save and 2 years to travel, not to travel, to train. Because as you can see, as you saw in the movie, a lot of walking, some hills, a lot of different terrain. So we had to kind of get ready for that. So, ta-da, we met at Griffith Park. Griffith Park, you say? Why? She lived in Camarillo. I lived in Orange County. When were we going to get together to train? So I thought I brought fitness to the thing, and she was the one in charge of the trip. Okay, wherever you say, wherever we're going, I'm good. But she Griffith Park to our unit. And so we would train, and we'd get there at 6 in the morning, leave our houses at 5, get there at 6, walk for an hour, get up the hills, just practice, and then go home and home in time to feed kids breakfast or babysit or whatever else we had to do. Nobody knew we were gone. Who needs you at 6 in the morning? I don't know. Okay, 2014 came, August 2014. We were ready to go. But let me tell you, this is called the Way of St. James. This is what it is, right? This is St. James. He was a pilgrim. I knew nothing about that. There he is right there. And he's called St. James the Great or the Greater. Don't know why. But he was the one, he was a disciple of Jesus Christ. And when Jesus died, all the disciples went out to convert people to Christianity. He chose the end of France into Spain, right here. This was his trek. I'm just showing you. St. John, Peter Port, and walked all the way here. Okay. Amazing feat, converted people. And all he had with him, because Jesus said, take nothing, just your shoes. He had a staff and a scallop shell. The scallop shell was great for getting water from streams, putting food in it as a little plate. That was it. And a staff for balance and to ward off wolves or people or whatever. So that's all he took with him. And he converted people along the way. Now, I will say, unfortunately, St. James went back to Palestine where he was from. He was beheaded because of his beliefs. He was one of the first martyrs of Jesus' disciples. And his disciples said, we've got to give him a proper burial. So they put him in a casket. It didn't have a head, but they put him in a casket and they put it in the water because I don't think they could have probably buried him in Palestine. Well, you'll never guess where the coffin landed up. At the end of Spain over here. I'm going to get my exercise tonight. Right there. The coffin lands up. It is covered, ladies and gentlemen, with scallop shells. The very scallop shell he used to drink water and eat food. This shepherd, and I'm telling you, this is a legend, fable, story. That's what I'm telling you because that's what I was told. He recognized this coffin that had the remains of St. James and said, that's the guy who just, was converting all of us. We got to make this a special burial for him. So they buried him at Santiago de Compostela. Santiago means St. James. Compostela means field of stars. There's a beautiful constellation of stars when you're there hiking. St. James is also the patron saint of Spain. I didn't know that. Okay, so that's where the cathedral is, and that's where all the pilgrims go when they're done with their journey. Okay. And people have been doing this pilgrimage for thousands of years. And this was before cars and hotels, they were roughing it. And it was really, people did it, if anybody's hiked, Josh, or you just want to be out with nature, or maybe you're just contemplating your life, or you're finally alone with your thoughts. That's how I felt. And it was very wonderful and nourishing. So off Debbie and I go. Dun, da, da, da. We are at the LAX. Mike took the picture of us. Look how excited we are. Woo, we don't even know what we're doing. We're so excited. And we, let me just mention with Debbie, my travel agent, yeah, that's going to be the next page. We're starting in a town called Saria. Saria, perfect. Look at how this was going to look. You can see it up here on the map. Look how, not very many miles, but 89 miles. And that, if we did that, and I will explain to you how this all kind of comes about, you get a certificate. You walk the Camino. You didn't walk the whole thing, but you walked some of it. You're still recognized. Okay, so Debbie and I got started at the train tracks. Yes, and there we are with our backpacks, and we are ready to go at the station. All right, but you might ask, well, what's in your backpack? I just happen to have it here as I hop along. Okay, couple things. Mind you, the shoes, very important. My lovely husband told me shoes are so important. I picked shoes from REI. They are weatherproof, rainproof. I mean, look at the tread on this. These were fabulous for all kinds of terrains. I was walking up hills with rocks and stuff. I always had 2 pairs of socks because, ones are going to get sweaty, and I would wash these repeatedly. They're wool. Wool wicks up moisture, so I never got a blister. My hat that Joe has one similar to this. This was really good because it had this little part in the back. I like that. Everybody had thongs because you want to get out of those shoes when you've been walking all day. Yeah. Then let me continue on. I think I'm going to, okay, let me just mention, there's a scallop shell. You know a pilgrim by the scallop shell on their backpack. So not everybody's got one. I mean, they could be a pilgrim, but they're not going through the St. James way. They could just be hiking or taking a walk for all you know. But this backpack, Josh was looking at it going, well, you don't have very much stuff in there. Well, you got to wear what you're, wearing on your back. One thing about this backpack, though, women and men, it has a whistle built into it, which was a really nice feature. If I ever felt threatened or alone, I could blow this whistle. It's pretty sharp, as you heard. Okay, so there's my backpack. Oh, wait, while I'm here, I have, one of these things, water bladders. This goes in. I drink a lot of, oh, shoot. Sorry, I forgot. See, I probably broke it. Okay, sorry. Okay, never done this before. Okay, so Nancy wanted me to unpack my backpack. Okay, here we go. All right, well, trust me, there's not much in there because literally I wore this every day. I'm going to start off with my rosary. This was one of the things in the show that the priest had given Martin Sheen during his thing, and he goes, oh, Father, I don't know. Well, that meant something to him, and that meant something to me. So I will share with you that Debbie and I did the rosary every morning before we started on our walk, and I'll talk a little more about this later. But there was my rosary, my little pack right there. And okay, you get to sit and look at all this fun stuff. Nancy said she wanted to see this. Okay, a rain poncho. What the heck? What do you need a rain poncho for? It's August. It's September. The rain in Spain? I don't think so. Well, it does rain in Spain in August. Okay, just some undergarments that you're going to wear, just to kind of keep everything together. This was a fun dress. This was my evening wear, my go to dinner wear, my get on a plane wear. It was very comfortable. This was a special dress. We'll talk more about that. This was cute because I'm always working on a tan. So, who wears shorts? Well, yes, you've got to get those legs tan, right? And this little shirt was worn every day. And it's also wicks the water off a little bit, and it's kind of sun protective, so that was a good shirt to get. That was a good investment. But I couldn't have short shorts all the time because, wouldn't you know, it did rain. So I did have some long underwear and a long undershirt. Okay, nothing exciting. Nancy wanted me to show you, so I'm showing you. Okay, you want it, you got it, babe. A little, shirt, because it did get cold. I'm digging. What else is in here? Okay, toiletries, toothbrush, but no hair blower, no curling iron. Yeah, it's just, my eyebrows were going to be a unibrow at the end of the whole thing because I, didn't have a mirror, didn't bring tweezers. A journal. Had to have a journal. Wrote everything. It was wonderful. My map that would kind of tell me, okay, I'm going this way. Let me, just on that map part of it, this arrow right here, and we're going to talk a little more about that, that was your only way to show you how to go. You had to follow that arrow. If you didn't, you're going one way and somebody else is going another way. So that arrow was very important, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. I won't be here forever, I promise. Okay, so I'm going to just repack my backpack. Give me a second, boys and girls. Mike was supposed to do this, but he's back on audio, so he can't help. All right, cram it in there. Okay. Now we're moving. Backpack, okay. I'm just going to get a slug of water. Oh, wait a minute. Forgot to show you something. I knew it. All right, with our tour, well, let's see. Let me think about this. No? Okay, that's kind of funny. Okay, Mike, I might have left something. Well, all right, I'm going to have to wing this one. Oh, no. Yes. With our tour, and anybody's tour, you're going to get something like called a passport. You are going to have stamps from your albergues that you stayed at, and albergues are like bed and breakfasts, okay? And you're going to get a stamp from that little coffee shop that you went to or that dinner place. You will get a stamp. When it's filled, you did walk 89 miles, or you did walk 300 miles, or you did do the whole, you'd have a longer one of this, okay? But this was proof that you did it. Okay, I'm going back over here. Okay, and it weighs 15 pounds, just to tell you. That's a lot of weight, with the water filled. So Debbie and I guess mentioned, we stayed in places called albergues, which means like a bed and breakfast, gave you hot breakfasts every morning and a shower. Some people stayed in hostels where there was 50 to a room, one shower per 50. Oh my gosh, we were not going to do that. Debbie got that all straightened out really good. I loved her for that. And like I said, each morning, followed the arrows to the next town that we were going at. And that was the arrow, like that little yellow. And again, you're going to see that and more. And we did start each morning off with a rosary. That is a kind of a Catholic thing. I don't know if anybody who's not Catholic does the rosary. That's just a Catholic thing, I guess. Anyway, it's very soothing. It's a rote type of prayers. It's 50 Hail Marys, 5 Our Fathers, 5 Glory Bees, 1 Apostle Creed. And it talks about the life of Jesus in certain decades, and that's what you call a set of 10 is a decade. Said that right. So we would pray for our families, or just whoever we wanted to pray for. And then it was bye. Because Debbie, this is how I learned about her for 10 days. She likes to talk to everybody. Oh, Bertha, why are you doing the Camino? Oh my gosh, tell me, where are you from? Oh, you're from, Terry, did you know I talked to so-and-so? And I was the Martin Sheen. I'm very serious. I'm praying and I'm looking at nature, but I'm not talking to anybody. I'm very serious. So we made a good match. So we would meet up down the road, and she would tell me all who she saw, and I'd say, well, I prayed, I will say after each day, we would go to Mass. Again, a Catholic thing for us. Of course, it was in Spanish, But the priest would be up at the altar and say, "Any Pellegrinos?" That meant pilgrim. And up, and he'd give us a blessing. Or we might get a token or a little gift like, "Thanks for doing this," you know. And it gave a long day for us, just something to look forward to. We really enjoyed that Mass, even though it was in Spanish. But if you know the Catholic Church, you know the sit down, up, down, fight, fight, fight part of it. We averaged about 10 to 14 miles a day. And one of my favorite places was a field of sunflowers. Oh, sunflowers are my favorite flower. Oh my gosh. It was like, "Debbie, take a picture of me in the sunflowers." Anyway, a little bit of trivia or a little fun fact, a phenomenon of sunflowers. Do you know? I got to use my hands. Do you know? Their little faces, when they're young sunflowers, they face the east at night. And as the sun comes up from the east to the west, oh, they follow the sun. I think that's a song. They follow the sun. And then it gets dark. Don't you love how this is a visual for me? Look at me. Don't I look like a little sunflower right there? Anyway, that I'm going to teach you a word because I had to look this up. Heliotropic is that phenomenon of a sunflower to move its head. They older sunflowers don't do that. No, it's beneath them. But the little sunflowers, their little faces, are following the sun. Anyway, it's kind of cute. I had to tell you that one. Okay, another fun picture that Debbie and I took was us in a stream. Oh my gosh, this was just so picturesque and so beautiful. I don't think we're halfway through our trek, but she had her stick, her walking stick, Josh, but I didn't need a walking stick, but she did have one. So I'm just showing you a little bit of the beauty of this journey that I was on. Like I mentioned, we had breakfast in the morning, but if we were hungry midway, there was lots of coffee shops along the way. And we would have this, a lovely coffee con leche. Oh my gosh. And some pilgrim bread. And pilgrim bread's like a heavy, dense coffee cake with almond flour in it. Really tasty. And again, you're walking 10 to 14 miles, you need a little something, right? Okay, finally, we did the 89 miles. We got into Compostela to Santiago. Santiago de Compostela, that's how you say it. There we are. We're both so happy, as you can see. And then we got to take a picture in front of the cathedral. We did it. We survived. We didn't have too many fights, but we did pretty good. And we were both happy we did it for our 60th year. The one part that was really fun is that day was a pilgrim's mass. And this is when all the pilgrims, they really want to be a part of this pilgrim's mass. And if you saw in the movie, also I will say, we also got to see the relics of St. James. So there they were in this little vestibule. But the Botafumerio, did I say that right? Botafumerio is that large incense vessel. Do you remember from the movie? I'll just share with you. Incense is big in the Catholic Church. When you have incense, you are sending your prayers to God right there. It's getting sanctified and purified. Those priests just love to use that incense. Well, let me tell you, the Botafumeiro wasn't so much for the ritual of the incense. It was to clear the stench of the pilgrims that were inside the cathedral. Because back in the day, they weren't staying at hostels or albergues. They were just walking and of course they had to make a big vessel, a big incense vessel, the Botafumeiro. And Bota, B-O-T-A, means expel or eject, and Fumero means smoke. We are showing that. It looks bigger to me, but it's supposedly 2 feet by 2 feet. It weighs 100 pounds when it's filled with incense and smoke. It takes 8 men, if you saw that in the show, 8 men in red robes to hoist it and swing it. And it swings from the north to the south of the cathedral, and we got to witness that. It was spectacular, just amazing. It goes 34 miles an hour, up to 80 feet up in the cathedral. That's how big it is. Anyway, we were so grateful to witness that. So after the Pilgrim's Mass, we went to the lights. We went to it's the officers. It's not the officers. It's the little office to say, okay, we did the walk. We did the walk. So here's what it looks like when you have all your stamps on it. It's like, I did it. And because I did it, I got a lovely certificate to put on my refrigerator. I was so happy to have this on my refrigerator. Your mother walked 89 miles. Okay, wow, what a thing. Okay, now I'm going to stop for just a minute. If anybody had questions, because I have another whole segment to yak about. Anybody have questions? Yes, Gary. That's a good question. Yes, the question was from Gary, who's next to Sonia. Oh my God. Don't ask me too many things. In this particular walk, the 89 miles to get your certificate, it's the most common walk because it's not so treacherous. It's pretty flat. There's some hills. People bring families. And so to answer your questions, there's a lot of people on that part of the journey. I will tell you the times when there was nobody, and that's another story. But yes, there is a lot of people. So you were never alone. You know what I mean? At that point of it, but there was a lot of people on that part of the walk, the 89 miles. Yes, Daryl. Yes. Well, they don't have Carl's Jr. in Spain. There's no Carl's Jr. At least I never saw one. But yes, a little market would, a restaurant would. Just again, oh, you were in the city of Ponteferrada. Yes, boom. Yeah. I mean, you had to get those stamps just to show how far you traveled. So yeah. Yes. That's part of this. That's where I'm going to this thing. Here is where we started in this pink spot right here. That's 89 miles. The whole thing is 500 miles. And my husband brought up a good point. He said, well, where's Paris from Saint Jean de Pied-de-Port, is how you say it. It's 500 miles from where we would start the Camino. So I don't think St. James went to Paris. He just went right to the Pyrenees is where he started. Continue. There's more. Hold on to the edge of your seats. Okay. So as I mentioned, it's a 500-mile trek. Some people do it in increments. Some of you were asking me about that. But after I did it 89 miles, I said, I got to go again. This is nothing. So I said to my friend Debbie, you want to go? Oh, no, I've been there, done that. That was not her. She liked it, but she wasn't going to go again. And I thought this time, okay, yes, thank you, babe. I thought, well, I'm going to do 300 miles when I turn 65. So I thought by the time I was 70, I would have done all 500 miles in increments, though, right? You know, so this one was going to be a big chunk of change of a lot of miles. I was going to finish in Santiago, but I was going to start at Burgos. I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I got, so many miles and I could be gone 3 weeks. I can do this. Oops, sorry. And I thought, okay, now let's fast forward to 2018. 2019, I was going to turn 65. Who wants to go? Anyone? I wasn't getting any takers. And I said, well, that's okay. I'll go alone. God's with me. I'm good. Mike goes, you're not going alone. I said, well, I'm not really going alone. There are people on the trails. You're not alone. But I just said, okay, you know what, Lord, this is on my heart. And I just prayed about it. And our youngest son said, well, Mom, I'll go with you. So my youngest son and his wife said, we'll come with you. Now, mind you, they'd been married a few years, had a 1-year-old, and said, we'll go with you. But they didn't want to stay the whole time. We'll do 25 miles. Okay, that's okay. They came with me. We started our journey together. They left baby Emmy, that was their first daughter, at home. Mike got to babysit her for a while. God love you, Mike, for taking on that one. But anyway, so Trevor and Steph, we did 25 miles together. We had an amazing time, and I was so grateful for them just to start off the journey, because then after that, I was alone for 52 miles. Again, alone, but I wasn't alone. I had my prayers every morning, and, you know, you could meet people on the way, but I wasn't there to make friends. You know, I just wanted to be. On the Camino, people will say, buen camino, which means have a good walk. And you know what? We've gotten away from a little of that, haven't we? I don't know. I'm sure here's a lot nicer. But people used to say, have a good day. Good morning. Eye contact. Hi. You know, we've gotten away from that. But on the Camino, everybody says, buen camino. That was very, endearing to me. I got to stop that. Okay. Trent joined me. Now he's kind of joined me. We're out. I've already walked from Burgos, and I'm going right up to here. And he met me, and, you know, about, 30 miles from Leon. Trent, okay, yes, there he is. There's my son, Trent. And we had a great time. And Trent was a great asset because he spoke Spanish. He could order food. He could tell us where to go. I mean, oh my God, I just loved it. But the fun part was, here's a little fun story. So I didn't know that my evening wear, dinner wear was not appropriate for church. We went to Sunday Mass, and all of a sudden, somebody's tapping me on the shoulder. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't know. And she said, something in Spanish. And I said, okay, Trent, what did she say? Cover up your shoulders. So then, wobble, I bought this. This is my fun little dress. Look at this, so cute. Only so many euros. But my shoulders were covered, darn it. You know, looks kind of funny, but I didn't care. But that was my dress. Okay, you guys are a good crowd. Thanks for laughing. Okay, so now I had 2 outfits, one for church and one for my evening sleeping wear. Okay, so Trent was instrumental he had a phone, and I had a phone too, but I didn't use it. I didn't want to use it. I just wanted to be a part of nature. But we had a really hard time getting into the city of Leon. Is that coming up? No, but that's good. So here's how you had to find your way. There's an arrow. Let's hope nobody's standing on it when you're looking for it. Next, there's an arrow off to the side of the road that's pointing this way. Okay, oh, Virgo, yeah, all right. There was an arrow. I think that's like a bell tower or a bird tower, but you can't miss it, right? And then there was another arrow that was made out of rock. So see, there, keep going, but you will see it farther on. You see that yellow arrow up there in the star. Okay, we're on the right track. Arrows were huge. So Trent finally got us into the city of Leon, looking on his phone with Google Map. Thank God for Google Map. You can get it anywhere. And in Leon is one of the most beautiful cathedrals in Spain. There are 3 cathedrals in Spain. In Burgos, a cathedral in Burgos, which was not open when my son Trevor and Stephanie came. Leon, and obviously a cathedral at Santiago de Compostela. But the reason I took this picture, and this makes me so happy, Nancy gave me a necklace that had that very piece, looked just like that stained glass window. And I thought, oh my gosh. And I was wearing it that day when I saw that picture. So I had to take that picture. That was so wonderful. It was so wonderful. Anyway, love that. Did I mention it was hard to get in the city? It was kind of hard to find those arrows. Well, one thing about the Camino, it's getting a little touristy. There are taxi car drivers. Oh, are you tired? Are you sore? Do you want a lift? Can I take you? It's like, oh, you don't ever want to use a taxi because you're not doing your pilgrimage. Well, we were having such a heck of a time to get into Leon. We said, even with his Google map thing, we said, okay, we're going to take a taxi. Shh, don't tell anybody. Just get us out a little bit of the town and nobody will know. And a pilgrim's motto, because I've done this, heard it a few times, you do your pilgrimage, I'll do mine. You know, if you got to take a taxi, who cares? It's 2 miles. All right. But anyway, just shh, don't tell anybody. If you see anybody, don't tell them we took a taxi. All right. Okay. And did I mention food? All right. How many of you like French fries? Raise those hands, because you're going to get French fries with every meal. I don't think we get them for breakfast, but lunch and dinner for sure. You like French fries with your meatballs? Yeah. You like French fries with, I'm not sure if that's steak or what that was, but yeah. You got it with chicken. You got it with ham. French fries. There wasn't a green salad to be had. I'm telling you. But you walked it all off. So that was a good thing. So time and time again, Trent was a blessing to me. And we had a really long walk one day. Okay. Yay. Thank you, babe. So we left Leon, and now we're going to Astorga. Unfortunately, it's not listed there. It is on this map. And it was 19 miles. It was a hill. I was really tired. Now, mind you, I've already done 175 miles, and this is going into my 3rd week. And I'm like, I can't walk another walk. So here's a really attractive picture of me going, I can't walk another step. And he's going, oh, Mom, oh, don't lose it. Don't cry. You know, oh, Mom. I mean, I really shouldn't put that up there, but it's so darn funny. So we're in the city of Astorga, and this is us, because we finally made it, thank God. But he let me listen to his Beatles music. He said, Mom, what do you want to do? What do you want to listen to? Come on, we got to go. And I said, I don't know, the Beatles? So we listened to the Beatles in his earbuds, and I will never forget that. And I will just say, and I get emotional, he gave up a week's worth of work for me. A week's work. He left his 7-year-old at home. I think Mike was watching him too. And I mean, that just said a lot. That just was so wonderful. So after Astorga, bye-bye, Terry, I was alone. And Gary, I was alone on these paths for miles. I had another 60 miles to go before Mike came and joined me. Again, I was never alone. I was with the big guy all the time. But I had one city that I went into called Ponferrada. And it was another big city. It was like, oh, where's that arrow? You know, oh my gosh. So I got in, but then I thought, oh, I have to go out in the morning and oh, you did it? Okay. So I left in the dark, and I did what I wouldn't tell anybody to do, but I took a taxi. Don't tell anybody. Really, it's terrible. But I thought, I'm not going to get out of there in the dark. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I talked to got a taxi guy. He didn't speak English. I didn't speak Spanish. Cross, pilgrim. Yeah, take me to a church. You know, a church would be a safe place. So he did, but it was pitch dark. He took me to the church, and there was black emptiness. And it's like, Hail Mary, full of grace. Please, Lord, I have my whistle. I'll use it if something happens. But literally, I finished it saying, please, Lord, your humble servant, I just wanted to do this walk in your name and honor. And this just popped up. And this was literally, there's my mile marker with the sign saying, go that way. God answers prayers. Okay. And then the next picture, you know, I went from all different terrains, was a bunch of sheep with a shepherd. It's like, I am not in Orange County anymore. This is really happening here. And I just thought, isn't that great though? How many times you get to see sheep? I don't. Then I entered another city called Tri-Castle, which means 3 castles. And I stayed in my little albergue and I had my dinner and I wanted to go to mass, a pilgrim's mass. Now I didn't get to go to mass every night because sometimes some little towns, didn't have a church, have a priest, didn't offer it. But I went to this one and I had to find it. Again, it was another one of these. The arrows aren't leading to the churches. They're just leading you to the next town. So I'm going along and walking along. I think I see a church steeple over there. I see this young Korean man with his phone. He's trying to get it, on his little Google map. I said, oh, mass, going to church. Yeah. I don't know how Koreans speak, but it's like, okay. And then it's like, we're going nowhere. I'm out of here. I'm going someplace else. So I go to the church and I'm at the church and I'm so happy and I'm praying. No, not yet. Yeah. Okay. But I get tapped on the shoulder again. And I'm going, lady, I'm wearing the dress. I'm covered up, right? Come on. No. The priest said, da-da-da-da, Pellegrinos. Oh, he wanted all the pilgrims to come up to the altar. He gave us a blessing, and he passed a microphone around. Where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from? America. Korea. My little Korean guy was there. He finally made it. Africa, Germany. It was amazing. That was such a special night. So that's the priest giving us a blessing. Finally, my betrothed came. There he is. And look how tired I look. But we were at the same train station that Debbie and I were at when we started our journey. So we started in Saria. So that's where Mike joined me for the last 89 miles. So there we are. What's the next one, babe? Is that the map again? Yeah, yes. Oh, okay, there we are. So we had a day rest in Saria. I was tired. I needed a day's rest. When you travel across continents and everything, you're exhausted. So you really need a day's rest to kind of get acclimated. So Mike and I, there we are with our backpacks. We're so happy. And yeah, I can't wait to go. And oh, Mike's a speed walker. Oh, I don't know if I can do that. I'm the old gray mare. She ain't what she used to be. I'm just, but honey, it was like, how are we going to do this Camino? I don't know. We're going to have a divorce before we even get there. Anyway, that was interesting because I'd never done a Camino with Mike before, so I didn't know how he was going to walk. But we had a great reunion. We got to catch up on his mom, who was 94 years old. There was a wedding from the family or friends of ours that got married. We had our kids, so it was so good to be with him, but it was just Speedy Gonzalez. That's all I can say. But we did figure out how to make it work. Part of the Camino is, well, you see the sights and sounds, but the one time we were walking along, and all of a sudden you're hearing this. Can you hear me? Little flute. There's a flute. Someone's playing the flute in the fields. And it's like, oh my gosh, I don't get a flute in California when I'm walking. So sure enough, this guy was sitting there playing his little flute, with, if you want to give him €1, if you had an extra whatever money that you can throw it in there. Okay, that was fine. But on past that walk, Mike and I came to the same stream that Debbie and I were at. And we took the same picture. I just love that picture. Okay, and then walking even further still, saw this cute little boy making a face, kind of dancing with his grandpa in the background, and he did not even have a hat for money. We got to see that for free. Look at him. He is so cute. Oh my gosh. And going through more little forests and trails, we happened upon just a little Good Samaritan stand where they had water, fruit, bananas, anything you needed. A donation would be nice, but sometimes you're gone or you're starving. You don't know. That does not happen in Orange County, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tell you that right now. Okay. So finally, we're at the last 12 miles and we are ready to go. We're going to get to Santiago de Compostela, up to Santiago de Compostela, but Mike got sick. He couldn't join me the last 12 miles. And it was like, oh, yeah, but I gotta finish. Yeah. So we called a taxi. Don't tell anybody, please. But I mean, poor Mike, get him in a taxi. Bye, honey. Love ya. I gotta finish this that I started out. So there's, now you can do it. Dun, da, da, da. Me in front of the cathedral. But notice, it rained in Spain. And I'm wearing a poncho that Debbie gave me. And it's like, Debbie, she's so good. She knows everything. So I finished my 300 miles. So now I'm going to do 200 miles next year. But before I go on about that, any questions? Oh, you guys are such a good audience. Yes, Bertha. Oh, good. You know what? They're probably going to do that next year. But you know what? You don't want to tell too many people about that. Shh, it's a secret. Are we good? Okay, so this is wrapping it up right now. So now my plan is to walk the next 200 miles. Oh, shoot. Okay. I'm going to walk the next 200 miles. This is over here, starting in Saint Jean de Pied-de-Port, and I'm going to go to Burgos, where I started last time. My son Ryan and his wife Claudia want to come with us. We're going to go over the Pyrenees, so that's a good old hike, and that's where Emilio Estevez's character had passed away in the movie. And then Trent wants to join me again. Oh my gosh, gotta stop doing that. And maybe Trevor and Stephanie, but they had another kid. So I don't know how they're gonna get away from that. But we'll see. God's got it all figured out. So Mike and I will continue to go to Burgos. They'll stay with us. And then I'll have done the 500 miles in 10 years with a taxi break every now and then. So there I'll start and there's Viva la France is where I'm going to start. So thanks for listening. Any questions? Oh, thank you. Okay. All right. No questions? Yes. So when you pay for the bed and breakfast, you pay the night you stay? We reserve it. So my friend Debbie, question was, repeat the question was, did you pay per day for the bed and breakfasts? They have, because it has gotten very touristy, they have packages. You want to stay for 10 days, 2 months, we'll give you a bed and breakfast. So I've already planned my trip for next year. I know what hotel I'm staying at, what city I'm going to, how many miles I'm going to walk, and your breakfast is paid for, and you get a shower and a bed. Yeah, good question though, because some people, they want to rough it. You will maybe go that day and hope that there's room. There's no guarantee about that, Just depends on how many people are walking it at that time. Good question though. Yeah. No, ours is already paid for. We've already got our rooms. We're all ready for next year. That's it. Oh, did I see a hand? Oh, I didn't. Yes. Hi.
Just curious if your foot or your ankle is going to be ready for next year.
Well, that's a good question. I was waiting for somebody to notice this. Okay, just a background. She asked if my foot or ankle would be ready for next year. In high school, I long jumped. That was high school, a long time ago. And I tweaked it horribly. But life went on. I did many things with that ankle. It never bothered me until I hit 60. Then there was a little hitch in my get along. And then I'm 69 and there's a huge hitch. It was arthritic and a bone on bone. So I have a ankle fusion so to answer your question, it will be ready for next year. There's no stopping me. Yeah. So that's, I wore the boot. I'm getting it off next week, but surgery was in June. But I have to wear this just to keep it secure. So anyway, it's really a fashion statement, don't you think? Goes well with my dress. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? You guys have been super duper. Thank you very much again. Appreciate it. No. Hold your applause. Hold your applause.
Thank you so much, Terry. That was really enlightening. I was like, so we have any takers for next year to join her? So bad. So have a good rest of your evening. I think there's some information there.
You all take them, and you want more, I can make more. And these are just things I had bought. This is a little tchotchke thing, but that's the arrow that represented, and the scallop shell. And this was our marker that we would see along the way that would tell us how many miles to the next place. This was a fun one. This was the butafumeiro. It's an ashtray or a little ring holder, but isn't that cute? You got to look at that. And the Holy Card of St. James. All right, and a book that my kids did for me. Okay, sorry. Okay.
And I guess if you want to take a look at the backpack and pull everything out too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So we thank Terry for coming tonight. And we thank Mitsu and Jean for being our gracious hosts at the door. And Sean, a lifesaver. And Steve and Joe back there. Thank you guys so much. Yes, and Mike. Yay. Good night.